Assalamu alaikum dear students, hope you are fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. Welcome to NIEVS Home School. I am Sabreena Haque, Assistant Teacher of Science, National International English Version School, Day Shift. Dear students, today I am going to take a science class for class 8 student on the based on chapter 3, and this is our second part of the chapter. So let us move for today's topic. Dear students, the name of the chapter 3 is Diffusion, Osmosis and Transpiration, and this is the part 2 of the chapter. And in the first part we already discussed about diffusion and osmosis. The definition of diffusion is the tendency of solid, liquid or gas to spread spontaneously and uniformly in any medium is called diffusion. And the definition of osmosis is the movement of solvent across a semi-permeable membrane towards a higher concentration of solute. That means lower concentration of solvent. Now come to condition for osmosis. The osmosis occurs only in the case of liquid, and second condition when a semi-permeable membrane keep the two liquids separate. Now come to our today's topic, the lesson 5, absorption of water and mineral salt. Mechanism of the water absorption in plants. The process by which living cell of plant body intake water and mineral salt dissolved in the water is generally known as absorption. This is the definition of absorption. You have to underline the line. Terrestrial plants absorb water from soil through root hair. Submerged plants absorb water through their whole body. The root hair first absorb the water through the imbibition process, and then when it reaches to the inside the cell, it get touched to the cell membrane. That we know the plasma membrane is the semi-permeable membrane. That time from root hair to another cell, the water goes through the osmosis process, so that there they retain about terrestrial plants intake capillary water of the soil particles through osmosis. But first the root hair take the water, absorb the water through imbibition, and then when it get inside the root hair, that time in the osmosis process the water comes inside the root hair cell, and then it goes to other cell through the osmosis procedure. And if you observe this picture, it is the root hair of the root, and this is the root cap, and this is the growth region of the root. And when this is the picture of the soil, inside the soil there is the water is known as capillary water, and root hair absorb the capillary water through imbibition, and when it get inside into the root hair, then the osmosis procedure occurs. Come to the this picture. Here this is the capillary waters, these are the capillary waters, and it's get inside the root hair through imbibition process, because the cell wall of the plant is colloidal substances, and it absorb the water through imbibition process, and when it get inside from here, the water go inside to the cell, from one cell to another cell through the osmosis procedure. The arrow shows the movement of the water from the root hair to other cell, and this water carried by the xylem fiber, it is carried by the xylem tissue to the different parts of the body. Now come to again the page number 29. The wall of the root hair is permeable, that's why their osmosis procedure can't help. So first it absorbs water through imbibition, and the absorbed water comes in contact with semi-permeable plasma membrane below the cell wall. The contraction of the central solution of the root hair is higher than that of the environment, and thus water, that means solvent, enters into the cell through endosmosis. Which osmosis occurs inside the cell is known as endosmosis. The concentration of the cell sap from outer membrane to the center of the root cell is not equal. Consequently, due to the intercellular osmosis, water flows from one cell to another and finally reaches the leaves through xylem vessel of the stem. Now come to imbibition. The definition of imbibition: most of the colloidal substances are hydrophilic. Plant's body contains various colloidal substances such as starch, cellulose, gelatin, etc. These substances can absorb water because of their colloidal nature. The process by which the colloidal substances like cell wall in plants absorb different liquid like water in case of plant is called imbibition. This is the definition of imbibition. Now, absorption in mineral salt by plants. Plants absorb a good deal of mineral salt from the soil for their development and physiological need. Mineral salt remains in solution from in the soil. The mineral salt remains as solute with the capillary water of the soil, but the absorption process of water and mineral salt are different and there are no relation between the two processes. Plant absorb water, the whole salt. Plant cannot absorb the whole salt molecule. They absorb salt only in the form of ion. If they are taking the potassium chloride salt for as the mineral salt, that time first the plant will absorb potassium ion and then plant will absorb the chlorine ion. That means the plant can't intake the absorb the salt in whole form. It take the salt in the form of ion, and however the salt absorption process is divided into two parts. There are first one inactive absorption and second one active absorption, and you will get this in detail in your higher classes. And come to the next lesson, the transpiration, and this is so much important topic for you. Transpiration is a special physiological process of plant. We learned from the earlier lesson that water is essential for different physiological work of plant. For that, plant absorb a bulk amount of water from soil through the root hair. Plant use a portion of the root water in different metabolic activities, and rest of it goes out in the form of water vapor to the atmosphere. The loss of water in the form of water vapor through evaporation from the moist surface of the internal tissues of the aerial parts of the plants, especially the leaves, is known as transpiration. Dear students, from here to here it is the definition of transpiration, and there are three kinds of transpiration, and they are stomatal transpiration, cuticular transpiration and lenticular transpiration. And which transpiration occurs through the stomata, that is known as stomatal transpiration. And come to this picture. This is picture of stomatal transpiration. This is the stomata of the leaves, and this is the open stomata of the leaves, and this is the closed stomata of the leaves. This picture is the picture of closed stomata, when the inside of the leaves there is water vapor is in more amount. That time the guard cell helps to open the stomata cell, and that time they can give out the water vapor to the atmosphere. Now come to the cuticular transpiration, and transpiration through the cuticle of the leaves, then upper part of the leaves and on the stem is known as cuticular transpiration. And come to the lenticular transpiration. Some water vapor go out through the lenticle of the stem. Lenticle exists in the bark of the tree. Look at this picture. This is the bark of the tree. In the bark of the tree there is some pores, that is called lenticle, and this lenticle is looks like this. This is the microscopic figure of the lenticle. In there is a pore. When from the bark the water evaporate through the transpiration process through the lenticle, it is known as lenticular transpiration. Now come to the significance of transpiration. Transpiration is very essential and significant process for plants. High rate of transpiration is harmful for the plant. This is why transpiration known as the necessary evil for the plants. Dear students, that is so much important line for you. You will get huge number of question on this portion, from this portion, that means significance of transpiration. Now, transpiration is very much useful for plant because due to transpiration excess water is released in the atmosphere, thus decrease of water pressure of the plant body. The concentration of cell sap is increased due to the transpiration. This creates the right condition for endosmosis, and transpiration prevent plant from the getting overheated and also maintain the proper humidity of the leaves. Water is very much essential for photosynthesis, the process for manufacture of food. Transpiration ensure the continuous supply of the water to the leaves. Due to the transpiration, there develop a pool into the transpirating cellular tube, which helps to lift the water through the xylem vessel from the root to the leaves through stem. Unlike photosynthesis and respiration, transpiration show very little effect on the environment, but in the water cycle, terrestrial plants convert land water into water vapor that go out in the atmosphere through transpiration. During transpiration, a huge amount of water is released in the atmosphere in the form of water vapor. Dear students, this is your homework number 10. You have to make 5 knowledge based question answer. Knowledge based question answer, and you have to submit on Saturday from 9 AM to 3 PM. Yes students, I have finished my today's topic. Hope you have understood. Read the chapter properly because this is so much important chapter for you, and you will get so many MCQ and knowledge based question answer from inside the chapter. Do the SW regularly, submit it regularly. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.